Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 10 versus 10 on Geisa, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 79th Guards Tank Division. It's been a while since I played this division, but it is the very strong Soviet tank division that comes with the T-80Us. The main reason that I'm bringing you this replay is to show off the new Buratino that was added to the division more recently, and I realized I hadn't even made a video about it yet, so that's what today's video is going to be about. This was also just a good replay in itself, and there are some really awesome hero units, so definitely watch out for them. One of them will be one of these Razvedka, so you're going to want to keep an eye on these two Razvedka squads from here on out. The Mi-2s, they're going to be moving up. They have my Spetsnaz in them. Going to be trying to land them ASAP and get them unloaded so I can get the Mi-2s sold. But since I see a lot of enemy helicopters coming away, my Mi-24V is going to be engaging with its infrared missiles. Does manage to kill the Gazelle cannon, which is a really nice kill. And now I'm looking for the kills onto these Gazelle Hots, because I do have some armor on the way in the form of the T-62. Thankfully, the machine guns here are going to take down the second Gazelle Hot, and my Mi-24, well, that's going to absolutely smash these aeromobiles. They get unloaded by this Super Puma. Super Puma is going to go down. Infantry get destroyed by the rockets. OSAs have arrived to help us out. Unfortunately, my Mi-24 going to get caught out by my opponent's OH-58s. They kind of came over a little bit late, so I didn't really have much chance to react. And so the Mi-24 goes down, but the OSA's going to be able to get a couple of helicopters in reply, and my two Iglas that I unloaded into this building going to wreck the Pumas. Do you manage to hit that Puma with a missile? That's probably going to go ahead and get sold. So the main reason you want to shoot down the Pumas in this case, even if they've unloaded, is because they can be sold. So if you manage to kill them, your opponent doesn't get those points back, and in a tactical game mode, selling your transports is actually a very viable way of making your cash back so that you can bring in more units. But there's the first kill for one of my Razvedka. The aeromobiles builds go down with the help of Farx's Desantniki. He brought in the nice infantry support for us here. My Spetsnaz, of course, leading the charge though into Gregory, and that's the sector that we're going to be contesting for the majority of this match. But second aeromobiles goes down. And with that being the case, since there was like 3 Pumas here, I can more or less assume that all of the infantry was cleaned up, and now all we need to do is push up this hill towards Gregory. So you can see my T-62 zooming up here, making the climb. F-104 does come overhead. Gonna get annihilated by the flat SFLs. These things are just absolute beasts. Of course, my OSA's there as well, but they have now used up a lot of their ammunition, so that's going to force me to bring in some supply. So I've got some of these MTLB snabs on the way. Now these supply vehicles, they only have 500 supply, but they are fantastic for resupplying units like OSAs. So if you just keep one of the MTLBs with like each of the AA units, then they can just have more or less infinite ammo until the supply runs out. Spetsnaz going to be finding themselves an M48 since they do have the RPG-27 with the 21 penetration. Those M48s do get one shot quite nicely. Razvedka still making ground here. T-62 going to be following up. I don't want to get my T-62 into range of an M48 here because the M48 will have a good chance of like one-shotting them. So I'm kind of just letting my Spetsnaz stay ahead, and I'm going to keep the T-62 off the road for the time being. Do end up with an engagement against the Jägeraufkläder. Jägeraufkläder do outnumber us quite significantly squad to squad. So I'm going to get my Spetsnaz together, and then when they're together we can push back towards the Jägeraufkläder to kill them off. This is a mistake that I see a lot of people make, is they commit to engagements that they can't win with their infantry. So in that case, I managed to get out of there before my cohesion got low. If your cohesion gets low, then you get slowed and you don't have a chance to run away anymore. So you got to kind of, in WARNO, judge your engagements before you take them, or at least commit to them. But now, of course, I have two sets of Spetsnaz. We've got the fire support coming in from Lycus on the right-hand side here with the PT-76. And also the Mod Schützen. And we managed to kill off that Jaeger Aufklärer quite nicely. Now we've got rocket artillery coming in. I do really wish that they would vector over the hill. Something that I kind of feel like they could change, but I don't know how they would do it. For now, though, we're going to be seeing the rockets go through the hill. Fliegerfaust is going to be taken out on that left-hand side, get rid of that nice and easy. That makes sure that Lycus's MI8 here is able to absolutely demolish these enemy units. Look at that. This thing has a Gatling cannon and a grenade launcher and rockets. So goodbye to anything that gets in line of sight of that. It was a really nice fire support for us. I've also managed to get my T-62 into a really nice position that can fire down this road. So with these Fuchs coming in, my T-62 unfortunate not to take one out early, because that would have killed the infantry inside. But here comes another aircraft that's going to get shot down and crash on the side of the mountain. Very cool. And the MTLB is now catching up with the OSAs. T-62 continuing the engagement here. Razvedka still following up the descents as we push forwards. You might be wondering why my Razvedka is currently using its machine gun to engage the supply. Well, that's because it's out of range of its AT weapon. This only has 530 meter range, so it needs to move up closer in order to get the job done. Leopard 2A3 Führer takes a side shot from my Spetsnaz. That was a beautiful kill. Those things aren't cheap. I think they're about 380 points or something, but that was capturing the sector, and we managed to kill it off. A rather strange choice by our opponents for this sector. Since it's in a forest, you'd be much better off just using some infantry or like one of the 100-point command vehicles. One of the super heavy command tanks are just really not worth it. Anyway, T-62 going to be popping one of the Humvees, and we're going to be able to take out the second one too. So he loses 2 units of infantry before they unload, because my T-62's got really good line of sight now down that road. And the Unimog there as well. See another kill for us. And the Spetsnaz is going to continue their way up on the left-hand side. Going to have to be careful with my Razvedka here, but here's what it's all about. This is today's replay. The Buratino. Oh boy. This is aiming at the infantry that were approaching the Razvedka. On the left there, managed to find the Roland 2 that was running away in the cover here. So that was great. A Pioneer's going to be finding us, but since their satchels don't have the range, they have to kind of like run onto us to do the damage. But here goes the Buratino. Just burning the side of the mountain. Brilliant. Don't think it really did too much damage. Of course, the Jaegers here did end up moving forwards. Ost is going to fail to get the F-104 there, but one of my Spetsnaz has gone down. The Pioneers ended up, with the help of the F-104, I believe we got bombed there, yeah. So that got taken out. Spetsnaz going to continue up away from the Gazelle cannon if they can. I just don't want them to get taken out easily. The Gazelle cannons aren't that good, so I am able to just kind of run around relatively freely. The Buratino going to be reloading on these MTLBs. Now this is where these MTLBs aren't very good for resupplying rocket artillery. Because they only have like 500, it doesn't work out too well. And the Mi-8T here was having a hard time getting line of sight onto the Pioneers, because it had to kind of like tilt forwards in order to shoot them, and then what that would do is like send it forwards as well. So it got itself in a bit of a pickle. Ends up going down as well. But lovely Buratino strike coming in again. And bomber there, gonna be able to cluster my T-62. Unfortunate. But the Spetsnaz engaging these Pioneers should be able to win. That's going to be another kill for that Spetsnaz squad. But every time they win these engagements, they are using up ammo, and the VSS is out of ammo, so I'm going to be moving that back, not only to get ammo, but also the 2 extra men, so we can keep them healthy. 2 Sapoli now going to be on the way. Yeah, this Buratino managing to slow down that advance quite nicely. Second Buratino has arrived, since that's what this is all about. We're going to be making the most of them. These things are really nasty. It's only 3.3 HE, but they can do damage over time to vehicles. And they do a lot of damage to vehicles when they hit them directly as well. But because they leave like napalm on the ground, I'm going to be shooting this Leopard 185. If the 185 doesn't move, then it is going to be in trouble. I was slowly moving this Razvedka forwards and backwards. And just keep an eye on this Razvedka squad. I already said it once already, but yeah, this Razvedka squad just somehow managed to do magical things in this game. Because I was just using it for recon mostly, but it ended up just picking up so many awesome kills. In this case, my Buratino wasn't fully resupplied, so only fired like a few rockets there. But the Leopard did end up taking damage from the Descents, I believe. Backing up into the shots here. Almost got it killed. Spetsnaz and Descents engaging the Pioneers. Those Pioneer Flam are kind of hard to deal with because they do have the hand flammetron. Now I'm a Buratino going to be trying to help out with these Rangers. So I saw this engagement on the right hand side here. Meka's Motor Strelki against these Rangers. And I thought, you know what? He could do with some Buratinos. Rockets. The Buratino rocket's going to come down, land perfectly on top of one of the squads, damage the second squad there. Lovely stuff. And you might have noticed that I only sent like half of the rockets, and I targeted slightly to the right of where I wanted the rockets to land. So basically you get that circle when you're firing with the Buratino. If you aim slightly to the right, the rockets always land on the left side first, so you can kind of just use a small amount of the Buratino at once in order to hit small amounts of units without wasting like an entire strike. That's definitely something I would recommend doing. So you can see here, I targeted the Fuchsfufu like directly, and then I am targeting like slightly to the right of it, so that the circle is going to mean that the rockets land on it first. Anyway, Smerch, or sorry, the M2 or M770s or whatever they are, the MRS cluster on the side of the NATO American things, they're going to be hitting my OSs. That was a very descriptive way of saying it. I'm going to unload my BTRs because, of course, I don't want my units to die in their transports. B62, I'm going to be falling back into cover away from that. I did lose my OSA to that, which was unfortunate, because I was just bringing up another one to make my air power or anti-air power really, really strong here. But now we're only going to have 2 again, which is annoying. I wanted to have 3, so I had a much better chance of shooting down those F-104s when they came overhead, because otherwise they're a bit fast for my aircraft or anti-air to shoot down, because I only get like 1 shot off by the time they drop their bomb and get out. Nice spray down there from the BTR-60s, the Jaeger's Cross. With this rapidly arriving, I can get aggressive again. I was having to be a little bit patient in this game because it's tactical income. It does mean that you do have to be patient sometimes and wait for the units that you need to arrive, because you don't want to push unless you've got all of the combined arms available. Else, the thing that happens is you'll get broken down by the thing that you don't have the counter for. So say if I pushed and I didn't have AA, someone would bomb me, and then that would be the push over. If I pushed with infantry but not tanks and I had a little bit of AA, then enemy tanks will break down my push. If I push with tanks and the AA but not infantry, then infantry will counter my push. But making sure that I have each of them for the correct engagements is super important. So That was what I was trying to focus on here as I pushed forwards and as I used the Buratino to support my pushes on the side of this hill. It's happening here, doing a good job, but Vodka still supporting here. Have actually got down to the last 15 rounds in their AK-74s. T-62, another one going to be arriving. Does get shot at, I believe, by the Leopard there. But my Buratinos are back on the hill. I did send one down briefly to go and meet a supply vehicle, but I moved them back up because I wasn't sure if the players on the left-hand side would be moving troops over this mountain across this way to go and hunt down in this objective. So I didn't want to get my Buratino killed behind my lines unnecessarily. Here we go with another Buratino strike. The timing was actually pretty good. It could have been a little bit later though, because it would have hit the reinforcements that were also coming in. It hits and kills the Jaegers at least, and my T-62 is going to charge up here to engage what's left. It's at that point that I kind of figure that the infantry behind didn't take too much damage. But it is only Pioneers, and the Pioneers with the hand Flambetrons. So yeah, I'm not too concerned being that close to infantry. And this is what I mean. If you have infantry but you don't have armor to support you, then you can get caught out in this situation. So in this case, Benigno has infantry like the Pioneers, but he doesn't have any armor to counter my T-62. So my T-62 is just able to run down his Pioneers. Of course, you could say that maybe he should bring some infantry with AT, but then a lot of the time infantry AT at the moment isn't really reliable enough to kill tanks in the front armor, so they can kind of just tank the fire that comes at them. Anyway, continuing to move up with the T-62. This T-62 on the left actually was starting to run out of fuel, so I had an MTLB kind of escorting it, ready and waiting to refuel it. And Buratino's still moving further up. These Buratinos, they only have 3,535 meter range, so you do have to get them pretty close. It does leave them vulnerable to airstrikes. So be very careful when you lose a Buratino, because people often will come in with like a cluster bomber or something to kill it, because it's totally worth it. Like, these Buratinos are worth 380 points, and if somebody suicides a 200-point cluster plane or even 300-point cluster plane to kill it, very much worth it. Managed to get on top of the Panzermörser there, kill it. T-62 doing a good job. These Pioneers have managed to find my Igler. My Osa's very exposed here, and so is my Buratino, so I'm going to have to back these up. Like, the Osa can be killed by a Pioneer with the hand Flambatron. Buratino maybe not so much. The main reason I back up the Buratino as well is because there could be other infantry here, right? That's the main threat. Thankfully, the Pioneers had used up all their hand Flambatron ammo at this point, so the Spetsnaz have a superb advantage in that engagement. So Lazudka trying to deal with a Milan, not really being too successful. Managed to finish off that Pioneer as the mortar strike starts to come in. I have now brought up a T-80B though. It's going to be accompanying us. But the Milan, I think it was a T-62, sorry, actually, took out the Marder 1A3 Milan. That was a good kill. And the Spetsnaz going to continue forwards away from that mortar strike. And I saw where the mortars were coming from, so the T-62 is going to go hunt that down. So we've captured the top of the hill. Buratinos are in position up here. Going to be fully resupplied at the moment. Now the plan is to push, of course, into Ivan. We are losing to a +2 because the right side kind of collapsed early on. We didn't really have any contesting in Roman, and we just like lost Jacob early on. But now they're kind of pushing back on the right. Lycus went over there. Lycus was initially helping my push, but he moved over to the right and he's going to start supporting that side to help push it back. But I'm going to still want to put pressure on Ivan so that we can counter-cap this and hopefully help out our team with winning the game. So it goes a little bit quiet for a moment as our opponents start to bring in more reinforcements. I was being quite patient because I, of course, needed more infantry myself to kind of screen my push. I'm pretty blind here right now, honestly. Even though I have these Razvedka squads, the line of sight for them is not very good. So you can see here the T-80B ends up like getting hit by an ATGM. That's probably a TOW-2 by the amount of damage it did. And on the second strike going to come in there, the T-80B just gets absolutely annihilated. The turret goes flying. And well, goodbye to that. We have some more Mostrelki on the way to solve that infantry problem. I've also got the Urals on the way to provide extra supply for my Buratino. And I did also bring up a Conkers. The reason I brought the Conkers was so that I could get it into the edge of the tree lines up here and cover the reinforcement roads. Nice kill there for the Razvedka though. Going to be able to kill off the Jaguar. And that was most likely the thing that ended up killing the T-80B in the first place. So managing to get that back at least was something. Osa on the right. Moving over to engage the OH-58 CSs. Unfortunately missing quite a bit, but these Descent Iglas, they hit one missile into each of them, then my Osa just one-bangs both. Really nice double kill there for the Osa. A bunch of infantry here, so the Buratino is going to be flying away, or firing away. More forest getting burnt, but look at this hill. You can see where we've advanced. There's like the browning of the trees all the way up here. Look at that. All the way up from where we started the engagement. Anyway, nice kill by my Osas onto that aircraft. Buratino now going to be firing away, and just like before, going to be letting it fire on the left-hand side, and then I'm just going to be stopping it and moving it back. So it's going to save us some rockets and some supply, because these Buratinos are incredibly supply hungry. Alpha Jet, very lucky to get away with that. The Sofa didn't have another missile to fire, and this one's also out on the left, so yeah, lucky day for that Alpha Jet. BMP2, sorry, going to be helping with the engagement against the Jaeger. I've got these Urals available now, so we're going to be able to resupply these Osas, and hopefully any airstrikes like that won't happen again. Meanwhile, on the right, they've managed to push out the command from this sector, so that's put us at a +3, since we are like contesting here, and we've also captured both this one and this one entirely that should be contested, and then also this one actually has lost its command as well, so that's probably more the reason for the +3. Anyway, with that, I'm going to also bring in my BRDM and decap this sector, put that into contested state, so that's now a +4 for our team. It's time to make a bit of a comeback. Buratino again, you can see I'm fire positioning to the right of what I want to fire at, and you'll see that the shots land in the circle area just over this building. There we go. Unfortunately, this time around, none of the rockets actually landed where I wanted them to. They landed like around the building, but not like in the middle. Because if a rocket had landed exactly where this squad is, it would have killed like pretty much all of the squads that were in there. Would have been really, really nice. Anyway, 2A3 has turned up, and more cluster munitions are coming in, dangerously close to my Buratino, but I realised that they were firing again from left to right from their perspective. So it's actually going for the Osa in this case, and my BRDM was nearby, so I moved that forwards. T-62 does get picked off by the 2A3. Probably just shouldn't have been engaging there, but I was more worried about saving the units nearby. They're kind of going to want to jump out of that building. So there is a BO-105. With the BMP able to fire at it, does take it down pretty quickly, especially with the help of the machine gun on the T-62. So yeah, still contesting the sector, getting the Buratino up on the left now. I was just kind of cycling between these, like one would fire, and then I'd use the other, and so on and so forth. And like, even if these don't necessarily kill, they do lower cohesion quite nicely. Conkers there does get one of the supply trucks. Killing supply in this game does actually seem quite valuable at the moment, because quite often people don't bring that much of it in their decks. So, good kill onto the supply. I was actually kind of hoping that I could capture it, but I ended up killing it anyway. Another helicopter going to get taken out. BMP-2 firing away. Plants conkers into the ground. There's the F-111 coming in with the bombing strike. My OSA was incredibly lucky to be alive. The bombs landed just either side of it. These BMP-2s look so cool when they fire. Also, one thing that I should point out is every vehicle has like a startup sound. It's not something that many people really know about or realize, but there's like a startup sound for every vehicle in the game. If you zoom in when a vehicle starts moving, you'll hear it. Nice hit though by the Conkers onto the Leopard. Just constantly firing. The Razvedka there, look at that! 2A3 kill! Oh, it's so cheeky. I'm at Shitson. Gonna be trying to kill it off. The RDM Conkers. Lucky for the M48 to miss. Does get the M48 with the second shot, but the Razvedka finally dead there. Nice leopard kill though, absolute hero. F-111F. Last shot there, unfortunately going to miss. Big bombing strike. T-62 is going to find another M48. And the bombing strike. Air comes over. Gets hit by all of the flat SFLs further back. Nice kill though by the T-62. Takes out the second M48. On that right hand side. Thunderbolt now hanging about. Since I do have the supply here, I can get these loaded up and ready for that Thunderbolt. Not entirely sure what the purpose of the Thunderbolt is here. I didn't really have any heavy tanks that were a good target for this. Like maybe the T-80B would have been a good target. Okay, Kiilstofte's going to be bringing the Raven. Unfortunate for him, he didn't land the first shot onto the OSA. And with the Raven now in the sky, I'm going to turn off my radar. And that means that the Raven can't target me. As soon as he flies overhead, turn the radar back on, go for another shot. Nice kill by my T-62 in the meantime. Does take out the Jaguar. At close range, the Jaguar could actually fire its missile and hit before the T-62 has a chance to fire. This T-62 is now 3 vet with the amount of stuff it's killed on the left hand side. Yeah, currently we're in a kind of a rough situation. Again, very lucky there not for the Raven not to hit. Colonel Stewart got unlucky with his missiles. I'm gonna have to kind of be chill because they are like pushing back with more infantry again. I don't have any infantry of my own that can kind of cover us. We're waiting for the Sapling and the Mojostrauki to arrive in these BMP-2s. I've also got a new T-80U on the way, which is the first T-80U actually I'm going to be bringing in this game. Didn't really need one because we weren't really bumping into much heavy armor, but since we've now bumped into the Leopard 2A3, T-80U would be useful. The MTLB is going to be coming in to resupply my Buratinos and also resupply all of my AA. Spetsnaz going going to try and do a runner from that Lux. Did manage to find them. Yeah, the plan is really to just get that Spetsnaz back now, resupply them, and also get their men back with all of the supply that I brought in. But we are still sitting on that +3 for the team. Things going pretty well for us at the moment. And Buratino on the left does have the 30 rockets available. One on the right is only on 9. That's why the supply is important. I do have these Urals further up though, but they were mainly used to resupply my Osas for now. Here comes the Sapere, the Motostrauki on their way. You can see I'm going to be unloading them either side here. Just need to work out a way to get rid of the Leopard 2A3. The Leopard 2A3 is vulnerable to the Buratino, as I mentioned before. The thermobaric missiles can do a lot of damage to vehicles. I'm going to be using this first one to take the shot. Again, you see I placed the fire position order to the right. Going to be doing the same with this Buratino. And what ended up happening with this Buratino is it started firing, and honestly it was almost perfect, but since it was already halfway through its strike before, the second half of the strike seemed to go to the right-hand side of the circle. Now this Buratino is firing away. I just kind of let it keep firing just in case the guy didn't move it too far, but he did end up moving it all the way out the way. Alpha Jet is going to get shot down. Nice fireball there. So yeah, Leopard 2A3 going to survive for the time being. My T-62 nearly had a chance to side shot it, but I didn't move it forwards fast enough. But now with my infantry arriving, the BMP-2s to back us up once again, MTLBs with the supply for the Buratinos, I'm soon going to be able to make another push for the Ivan objective. I really liked the pace of this tactical game. It was a lot more chill than the normal 10v10s, because the normal 10v10s you get a ton of points, but I feel like in the tactical 10v10s you can actually push quite efficiently if you're getting a good KD, whereas in like a normal game where everybody has like normal income on like the equivalent of a 44 map, it just gets ridiculous, because no matter how good your KD is, you don't make ground, because people can replace things faster than you can kill them. Anyway, Desant's going to be pushing forwards for Farks. That's going to be allowing my T-80U to provide some fire support. More infantry has arrived. So here goes. We're going to be making our push. You can see all of the hunt orders starting to come out. Just going to try and break down as much of this infantry as possible. Now when you're dealing with infantry that has AT, you are going to want to engage with your units at maximum range. Like these BTR-60s are really good fire support. I think people underrate them a lot. Now you might be wondering why I'm moving this one so close to the Pioneer. That's because it doesn't have AT, but I don't want to get too close to the Jaeger, of course. So I'm going to be unloading here, getting the Sapere to attack me forwards and allow the BTRs to engage the Jaeger at range. And you can see they do chip pretty nicely, taking off, you know, taking out a couple of men in the squad at a time. And Buratino's getting ready there to fire on the left-hand side. Since I saw like a bunch of units here, I just thought I would just let it fly. Motostrauki coming up with the RPG. Going to be able to take care of the M301 Bradley for me. But here goes the Buratino. We'll watch it for one last time. We're getting close to the end of the game. M48 does go down there, but check out these rockets. It's just insane. It looks awesome. Sounds cool as well. Great stuff. There goes another little bit of a Buratino strike, but that was actually targeted near where my Motostrauki was, so I was lucky that I cancelled that in time. Motostrauki taking another M113 with them, with the +3 in our favour. That is more or less job done. And yeah, what a game. So yeah, the Razvedka that killed the 2A3, absolute hero. In the end, 4,210 kills to 1,545 losses. Very nice KD. Really, really enjoyed this tactical 10v10. I think tactical 10v10 is generally more fun than like the normal 10v10s. Although I do still enjoy the normal 10v10s as well. Yeah, the Osa is there, getting plenty of kills. Here's the Razvedka kill list. So this was the Razvedka that was from the start of the game, I believe. Ended up killing the Eremobiles there, and then killed like a couple of Pioneers. It took out the Jaguar. It took out the Leopard 2A3 and a Fliegerfaust. Very, very nice indeed. Spetsnaz doing okay, moving up, killing that Ronin 2 in the cover there was actually a nice find. T-62s did well. The Buratinos didn't actually end up killing that much, honestly, but they definitely did damage to significant units. Another T-62 doing fantastic. That was the one that pushed all the way up on the left-hand side, killing all of the Panzermorsers, and then taking a few extra units with it, including the Jaguar. It even got credited the BO-105 kill with its machine gun. The Osa, again, getting more kills there. It would have been nice to have more Osas throughout, like losing the second Osa to the rocket artillery, the M270 MRS cluster. That was unfortunate, but that was the only kill that I wish I could have avoided in that game, because we would have probably got a bunch more kills if I kept all of those Osas alive. I could have obviously brought in another Osa, but there were, I think at that point there was always something else that I wanted to buy, especially like infantry, to be able to continue the push, because without infantry screening you at the front, it's very easy to get caught out with your tanks, particularly like if you don't have any recon infantry, for example. So like as soon as my Razvedka died, the hero Razvedka, I was kind of blind there for a while. Anyway, yeah, Leopard 2A3s, of course, difficult to deal with, but when we have a TACU, we can bring them up to challenge it. Thankfully, we found another way to take it out. And the second Leopard 2A3 on the right-hand side, killing the T-62, wasn't too much of a problem. I believe that ended up going further to the right to engage something else. But yeah, really fun game. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too. Set that mountain ablaze with the Buratinos. Good fun. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.